everyone, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Lee.
And I'm Ash.
And we are This Looks a Bit Complicated, and today we are previewing Cosmoctopus by Henry Audobon, hopefully I've pronounced that right, and it is currently on Kickstarter at the moment.
It's about a mysterious creature that comes from outer space, and people are trying to devote themselves to it and worship it there, which is a great concept that I found for it there. That intrigued me the first bit when I looked at the box. First of all, got the components out and had a look at them there.
Yeah, the box art's really fun and it draws you in, and I like that thematically it all ties in. So you've got your little inky squid octopus thing with its tentacles, and you're adding them all in to complete it. It all ties in lovely. There's nothing that stands out as a miss. Yeah, and in the Kickstarter version they've added they've unlocked a third tentacle, so it was quite fun. I like the tentacles. I liked picking which one I wanted on my little board when I was getting them all and winning.
Having to summon something instead of trying to stop the summoning is a nice change of pace, especially from our usual...
From the usual game we play,
yeah. So I thought that was really nice. How the art's done on the grid. From being far away, you can actually see the different types of spaces. The iconography on all the tiles and the things are quite straightforward in terms of, well, I'll not go here because I'm going to get 3 resources.
Yeah.
So that's really good. And even the ones with the text, the writing, you had the iconography and then you had the writing underneath, which was quite clear, and it wasn't really difficult to figure out once you know where you were going to plan your next move.
And I like that, as you said, we've got a big table, so when you're sat opposite it, it's hard sometimes in some games to be able to read, so you're always like, can you pass us that tile to see what it does? You can clearly see what the tiles does. The
structure of the game is it's pretty tight knit in terms of what you have to do. You move to the space that you want, you get your resource, you play your cards, so you can create a plan in your head, and based on the theme as well, it's quite easy to understand that you need the resources, you need to get this to then get tentacles to get it. So all of that intertwines nicely.
I think at first you're trying to get the 13 resources of one type so that you can get 2 tentacles, but then the more games we play, the more we realise it's not necessarily the best way to win, because you spend a couple of turns to do that, where you can there's lots of other ways. So you don't necessarily need to do that, but at first you're drawn straight into, oh my god, I want to get all of them, when you don't really need to win.
Some games where you play and you went 5, maybe 10 minutes before you go. This one, literally your turn comes around and literally within a couple of minutes. Even though the time for the game is between 45 and 90 minutes long, you don't really feel it takes that long, because you're already absorbed into the actual game, and you got your turn round again and again and again.
You had the interest of watching where he was going to end up in the middle, in terms of I hope it's only one space away, because I can only move one space, and I don't want to spend this extra resource to move him an extra space, because then I don't have enough resources to spend this card. So there was a lot of interest in terms of other people's turn, especially the person prior, to make sure that they hopefully didn't move too far away from you to be able to stop your move.
And it was also a nice trick when you built up a combo with the cards, obviously, so you could get a couple of moves, extra resources from that one there, or you filled in a celestial card there and it gave you bonus resources or movements there, which triggered another card as well there. So obviously there was the combo trick, which was brilliant inside the game. Obviously it does take a little bit of a while to build them up, but when they trigger, they do pay off.
Do you think the lack of playing one card or movement hinders your strategy at all, or do you think it helps?
Possibly. In my situation, in the last game I played, I got a combo where I played a card, I was able to complete 2 celestial cards, which gained me quite a lot of resources. But because I'd played my card, I wasn't able, and it wasn't a red card with a lightning bolt on it, unfortunately. I was only able to play that one card. So I had about 10 resources of the yellows and about 7 of the green. And then I had to discard down. For me, that'd probably be a more enjoyable way, because at least I'm not wasting or feel like I'm wasting my time or turn or something like that one there, where I've got them resources to spend before I reduce down, so I've only got 8 and 8 cards as well.
Where I'd have just played a different card and kept that one till I had a lightning bolt one. Where I
possibly, but because I was losing, I had to try and think of something. So unfortunately,
you got all the resources. You got all the resources, and nothing to do. I've not
won the game yet. I have to try.
I know. I've won the game. I thought it's frustrating sometimes when you're losing because it's difficult to catch back up unless you have the right cards. But then you can pick a card up which will get you 2 or 3 octopuses in 1 or 2 turns. So it depends if that happens, because on the games I played it didn't happen. So the few games we've played, there's not really, the person who's losing is lost, and there hasn't really been that catch-up mechanism to bring them back. But I can see how that's just the look of the cards and the look of the tiles and where you decide to go and what you decide to do, rather than a game flaw, I think.
One of the games, like myself and Helena pretty much had the same identical hand. So, and because Helena went prior to me, then every time she went to the same space I wanted to go to, and that went on for about 6 or 7 turns. So, which you're like, oh, but and I could sit and go, oh well, there should be more spaces. But once that happened, this is where I think the game excels a little. Is that you need to start thinking, do you know what? I need to abandon that plan now. That plan's gone. I can't do it. I need to just move on to try and pick something else up that I can get to now. And I think that's where the little bit of the charm is for this sort of game. Everybody at one point is going for the same sort of cards that you want to get. And on your turn, you just won't always be able to do whatever you want to do. And while that brings frustration sometimes, it's also the little bit of charm once you're like, okay, yeah, I've managed to sneak through here. I've managed to get that. I've managed to get that little resource now. Now I can play that card, to which then you can get another one. I think the success for me in this game is how you can grab your resources and you get your little combos to get the other combos to get back because you can't necessarily get it on the grid, but if you can nail it on the cards and get the extras, then it sort of bypasses that around a little.
So I needed stars, and every single turn Lee needed coins, so Lee would move to the 3 coins, and the 3 stars was above the 3 coins. So Lee goes to 3 coins, which means Ash then goes to the 3 stars, and it's me, and I'm thinking, I don't need those coins, and the other stars was right over there, but I needed the resources I had to play my cards, so I was just...
I think that's part of the competitive part of the game.
Yeah.
So as Lee was saying there, the charm is there's like you need to check your play your turn prior to obviously the person who's going to go next turn.
And whilst I guess it sort of creates that slight bit of an anticlimactic ending, because you can see it happening. You can see, right, okay, they've got 4 turns. They're going to win in 4 turns unless somebody else does something miraculous, which it doesn't happen. And I think
it did.
Nearly, but unfortunately it didn't. So, and I think that's the only thing I can say is you can see it happening and you can't do anything about it. But that's not necessarily the negative that it supposedly initially thinks it is.
Pros and cons of the game then. Okay, so I did like how fast turns go in the game, which is great because it's about being involved with the game there. I'm a rules man, but I get them wrong quite a lot. Unfortunately, apparently I play to my benefits there, but
He does.
There's no part of like where you're literally a stumbling block and you're reaching for the rules there, because the rules are really straightforward, I would say, in the game there as well.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the game. I thought it was really good. I thought the turns are really fast, as people have said, and there's lots of ways you can win. Well, there isn't lots of ways you can win. There's one way to win, which is to get the 8 tentacles, but there's lots of ways to do that. So you can do it by the cards, but then there's some cards that you get that gives you an instant tentacle once you've collected the resources for it. There's the 2 tentacles we've mentioned for the knowledge cards, which are good. So there's lots of different ways. You don't just have to follow one path to victory. The only thing I'll point out is that towards the end of the game, it was kind of obvious in every game we've played who was going to win about 3 turns out before they did win.
Sarah, would you feel this game was did it look complicated to you?
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
When you first set it all out, it did look a bit complicated. When it was brought to the table, I was looking, thinking, oh, what do we do? But the rules were really simple.
So, just keeping in with the theme of the game and ratings there, how many tentacles out of 8, because an octopus has 8 tentacles, if you didn't know already, would you give this? So, Lee, what would you say out of 8 tentacles?
Like, it always reminds me of that joke.
What joke?
How do you make an octopus laugh?
tentacle.
Give it tentacles, right? But
The right
so I think I would give it a solid. I think 6. I think 6 out of 8 for me. I can see it's easy to learn. It's like tight knit and it's quite competitive in trying to get your resources, getting your cards. I don't think at any point if it overstayed its welcome, which I think is a massive benefit to the game.
Mm-hmm.
I would give it 7 tentacles out of 8. I had to count how many tentacles there was there. I'd give it a 7 out of 8. We have only played this at the 4-player count and the 3-player count, but I am excited to try it at 2 players.
But I would give it 7 tentacles as well. Purely, I like the speed of it. I like the theme of the game there. Again, the frustrations, engine building, it's just my downfall. I can't basically think probably 2 steps ahead of me, unfortunately, there. So that's our preview of Cosmoctopus. That's the first time I've been able to say the title of this game there. We've had a brilliant time with the game, and we are looking forward to the final copy once we get it from our Kickstarter.
So it's bye from me.
Bye from myself as well.
And bye from our great Inky one also.
Well done, Sarah. Bye.
Bye.
So Ash, what's got 8 legs and turns into a truck?
An octopus.
Close. Optimus Prime.
Do you know what? I'll give you that one actually. There, Optimus Prime. Yes, there. I like that one.
And unfortunately, he doesn't turn into a truck.
He does if you do this.
There we go. There's our ending.